Dr. Samuel Hawke, a brilliant but reclusive physicist, toiled late into the night in his cluttered lab. The air was filled with the scent of old books and the faint hum of electrical equipment. His latest experiment continued his lifelong fascination with time. Samuel's theories bordered on the fantastic, but tonight he stood on the brink of something extraordinary. Samuel's fascination with time began in childhood when his watchmaker father told him stories about its mysteries. His father often said, "Time is a river, constantly flowing, but every drop affects the whole." This metaphor deeply influenced Samuel, shaping his life's work in physics as he studied time and its impact on the universe. Samuel discovered an unassuming, anciently ornate box. It was said to belong to an older time, an ancient time weaver that allowed the holder to travel through the threads of time and space. Skeptical but intrigued, Samuel cautiously opened the box and revealed a golden orb that pulsed softly with dim, weak light, nearly invisible. As he held the orb, a flood of energy surged through his body. The room blurred around him, and he felt himself pulled through a vortex of light and sound. When the world stilled, he found himself in a bustling medieval village. The air was filled with the sounds of haggling merchants, the clatter of horse hooves, and the distant tolling of a church bell. Samuel's modern attire was an instant giveaway, and the villagers quickly noticed him. Eleanor, the gentle-hearted woman who ran the neighborhood apothecary, noticed the commotion caused by the ragged stranger. "Are you lost, traveler?" she asked, her eyes showing genuine concern. Desperate for more than just words, Samuel tried to explain his futuristic origins, but this only perplexed her further. Seeing his distress, Elena offered to take him to the local monastery, which sometimes provided charity. There, he met Brother Thomas, a kind monk who fed him and offered him a place to sleep. Samuel's odd clothes and fantastic story piqued Brother Thomas's curiosity, and Samuel continued his tale without interruption. During his early days at the monastery, Samuel grasped the seriousness of his situation. One evening, while preparing remedies, Elena shared her life philosophy with him. "Compassion is the greatest gift we can offer," she said softly, her eyes reflecting the candlelight. "One act of kindness can ripple through time and change the course of history." Samuel's time in the medieval town was cut short when he found an ancient text in the monastery library. The text hinted at how to control the time weaver, but required a specific alignment of the stars, set to occur that very night. Eager to return to his time, Samuel activated the time weaver. Instead of his own time, he found himself in a dystopian future. Skyscrapers loomed like mechanical giants, their neon lights flickering ominously in the smog. In this grim future, Samuel met Marcus, a stubborn freedom fighter leading a rebellion against the oppressive regime. Marcus had been a brilliant scientist, but the government's harsh measures turned him into a revolutionary. Having lost his family to the regime's brutality, Marcus now fought for a future where others wouldn't suffer the same fate. Marcus embodied sacrifice, giving up everything, family, safety, and future for the greater good. Samuel joined Marcus's cause, using his knowledge to aid the rebels. Through countless battles and close calls, Samuel learned the true meaning of sacrifice. One fateful night, as they prepared for a mission, Marcus looked at Samuel. "Remember, we will be judged not just by what we do, but by the lives we touch and the difference we make in their world." Marcus was captured, sacrificing himself so the others could escape. More determined than ever, Samuel knew he had to find a way back to prevent that dystopian future. He returned to his laboratory with a renewed sense of purpose, carrying the lessons taught by Elena and Marcus. With the guidance of his colleague, Professor Iris Matthews, Samuel began exploring the scientific possibilities offered by the time weaver. Iris, equally brilliant and practical, provided the grounding Samuel needed. Together, they worked to harness the time weaver's power for the betterment of humanity. She suggested they use the time weaver to right the wrongs of the past in human history. Samuel made a decision. He activated the time weaver once more, ensuring the lessons learned over time would never be forgotten. Samuel found himself in ancient Rome, a city at the height of its power, but plagued by corruption and inequality. He knew this moment in history was critical, with decisions echoing through time, influencing the rise and fall of empires. Assimilating into the city's fast pace, he used his knowledge to navigate its complex politics. He subtly guided influential people towards justice and compassion, setting off a series of changes to improve history. The more Samuel worked, the more he felt the strain on his body. One hidden implication of the Time Weaver was its draining effect on his life force. One evening, while conversing with a senator, Samuel felt a pang in his chest. He staggered, clutching the Time Weaver. The senator noticed and asked if he was okay. Samuel smiled weakly, knowing his time was over. "Every small act of kindness can change the world," he whispered. Samuel was dead, and the Time Weaver just appeared in the lab. After some time, an elderly helper approached her. "Professor Matthews," he said softly, "I believe this belongs to you." He handed her a weathered journal. Recognizing Samuel's handwriting, Iris's eyes widened as she read about his time-traveling adventures and his final moments in ancient Rome. Tears welled up as she read his last entry. "Today I make my final stand for the betterment of humanity. If you find this, Iris, know that my sacrifice was worth it. Every small act of kindness can indeed change the world."